Welcome to the Finance News Network. I'm Anna Napoli, and joining me now from Lake Resources is Managing Director Steve Promnitz. Steve, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Lake Resources has 4 lithium projects in Argentina, but before we talk about that, there's been a lot of talk about electric vehicles in the media recently. What's your view?
The problem here in Australia is we just don't see the breadth of electric vehicles that you see in other countries. If you go to China, California, Europe, especially Scandinavia, you see electric vehicles everywhere. I was a couple of weeks ago in Shenzhen. You turn up on a fast train, the taxis are electric, the buses are electric, half the cars are electric. That's what we don't see here. And the penetration in China is about 4.5%. Similar in Europe, Norway, it's now nearly 50%. So unfortunately, we don't see that, but it's happening, and it's happening fast. And why is that? Performance, low running costs, very low maintenance, and soon enough, somewhere in the next few years, we'll see that sort of breadth of electric vehicles available here in Australia.
So given that, what is the impact on lithium batteries and supply?
It's always very hard with forecasting to really get an idea what's going to happen. What is the demand going to look like? And I've seen various forecasts into the future as to electric vehicle demand. The metric I often use is the mega factories that are being built for lithium-ion batteries. So there's 46 of those built at the moment. It's looking like 72 by the time we get to 2028. And for the capacity that they're looking at building in, we're going to need 8 times more lithium than what we produced last year. 8 times. Now, in any commodity, if you just double it, that's hard work. 8 times that allows a lot of opportunity for new companies. It's not going to be the 5 majors. It's also going to be companies that have got advanced projects. And we're fortunate, our Lake Resources is one of those.
But if that's correct, why has the lithium sector been soft and underperforming for the last 10 to 12 months?
If we go back to early 2018, there was a piece put out by an investment bank, supported by a few others, that said that there would be massive oversupply of lithium and that lithium prices would crash. As it's played out, that really hasn't happened. But when people start shorting a play and thinking that's the way it's going to go, it takes a long time to turn that around. What we have seen recently is, as I mentioned, an increase in the number of mega factories, and that has to be fed somehow by lithium. Now, it would suit the majors just for them to expand, given with long-term contracts. But the amount of space that's available, there's space for new projects. And I'll give you an example of that. Basically, the lithium world changed last week in the 1st of April. On the 1st of April, the number 2 lithium producer, Ganfeng, announced that they were massively ramping up production in Argentina from a project called Cauchari. They paid $160 million to increase their equity to 50%. They're ramming it forward and increasing the amount of production. And we thought, that's interesting. And then a few days later, Volkswagen came out and announced a 10-year supply deal with Ganfeng. Now, that's the first time a major automaker has ever signed a huge long-term agreement with a lithium supplier, leapfrogging the battery makers. That tells that there's a supply squeeze, or certainly concerns about supply coming forward. And for me, that's been the best metric to show that there is actually a shortfall or a potential bottleneck in lithium supply coming.
So Steve, turning to Lake Resources now, what impact does this have on your prospects, and what's happening at Cauchari and Kachi?
So at Kachi, we're advancing with a pre-feasibility study, a PFS. We'll be announcing the engineering firm quite soon, and it should be, towards the end of this calendar year, have a document that shows the development options, the costs, and that we can show to battery makers, banks, investors to get that project going and into production. And there we're looking at using direct extraction, which is a very efficient way of bringing that project to market a year earlier at very low cost. Our other project, Cauchari, interestingly, we're drilling only a few hundred metres away from that major transaction with Ganfeng. So if we were in the gold space and I said we were drilling next to the super pit, people would be pretty excited. It's that sort of thing. We're drilling next to the largest defined resource of lithium on the planet. And so somewhere in the next 6 to 8 weeks, we should get some results out of there, and it's a pretty exciting time for us.
You've recently closed a capital raising.
Yes, the idea of that was $1 million to assist with the drilling at Cauchari. We're also doing a bonus option issue for our shareholders. So if you're a shareholder up until 17th of April, you will then get given an in-the-money option, and then if that gets converted before middle of June, then you can get another option as well that will get listed. It's a loyalty bonus to say thank you for your support, start looking at this stock again. I know we've under-delivered recently on our drilling at Cauchari, but all of that's about to change, and it's a pretty exciting time to be looking at Lake and looking at lithium.
Steve Promnitz, thank you for the update.
Thank you.